My name is Joella Hodge. I was Joella Bice. I attended a one-room schoolhouse all 8 years before I went into the local high school. I went to Hallville and to Kirk. This is Miss Briggs. She was a wonderful teacher. She was sort of tall, thin, just a wonderful, wonderful person. But we started at 9. And the teacher would stand outside and ring her bell. And if you were not at your seat when she closed the door, you were automatically late. Just goes on your report card, late. And there's parts on there that says how many times you were late. But other than that, I don't ever remember of any of us ever getting reprimanded with a paddle or anything. I think there was one there that was threatened maybe, but I don't think it, to my knowledge, it was never used. I know we had a dunce corner just for discipline and misbehavior, talking too much. And in fact, I might have been there once or twice for talking too much. If you look at my report cards, I think every time I got on there, whispers too much. We had one teacher that taught every subject to every grade. And there was reading, writing, arithmetic, history, music, art, singing, almost everything that they do today. I didn't go to Hemlock, but Hallville, when you would go in the front door, the first thing you saw was the big potbelly stove. And that's how they heated, with a potbelly stove and coal. So you could always either smell smoke or the wood burning or whatever. To the left of the building, there were racks where you could hang your clothes or your coats, and then up above there was a ledge where you could put your lunch bucket. We were able to walk home for our lunch. We lived so close, so we went home. But the other students, they just took their little buckets or their little lunch buckets, and they ate at the school. In the corner is where they had the water crock, and then beside it they had a big pail of water with a dipper, which was to wash your hands or whatever. And then you'd go down both sides on the sides, and it was just all windows. Across the back of it was the blackboard. We had recess, and we played the ordinary games. You know, we played baseball in the front yard. We played Red Rover, Red Rover. We played Andy, Andy Over. We played tag. So we just did, you know. Most of us lived right in the area there in Hallville. There were several that, you know, had to walk a couple of miles. Grove City was all separate. They had all their own separate schools. And then all the townships still had all of their schools. I mean, there's, I think, 10 different ones in the townships. All 6 of us went, my older sister and brother and I, to the local one-room school. The last one did not. By that time, they were all consolidated and everybody went into the local school. I honestly don't know why they did it. The history of the Kerr School. Kerr School was closed for business in 1954. First Kerr School was built of logs, slabs, about 1805. Franklin Pierce, president of U.S. Wooden school built about 1868. The brick school, which was still the last one, was built in 1888. It cost $914 to build. Captain John Kerr of the Revolutionary War was a surveyor working for the government. He applied for the land grant and for the school in 1802. Acknowledgement given soldiers of the war and working for the government. He surveyed all of the land. It was, when it closed, it was empty for a long time. The Pine Township there, Hemlock, they held their Grange meetings in there. And then for some reason the Grange quit using it. Well, it came up for auction. Well, my next door neighbor bought it. That was before we had moved there. And they needed to sell it. And so my husband and I decided we were going to try and buy it because there were so many different places trying to come in, like a paint shop and an auto body, and our side yards would have met, and we just couldn't see us living beside something like that. So that's when we bought it, and we kept it up until like 3 years ago when I finally had to let it go. So.
What'd you use it for?
I had a craft, and I don't know whether there wasn't room for all the kids or why. Once a month they would come for a meeting. They would bring their lists, and the majority of us fought to see who was going to get those lists, so we could go to that supply house and get those papers and books and all for the teachers. But that was another thing that we did there.